Hey guys, welcome back to Carib 21, wherever in the Caribbean or in the diaspora you're watching from. So in today's video, I want to talk about Grenada. So the small, beautiful island of Grenada, the Spice Island, is one of those islands in the Caribbean that's not talked about a lot in comparison to some of the other islands. But in recent times, we have been talking a lot about Grenada, and this is because of the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Honorable Mr. Dickon Mitchell. And the Prime Minister of Grenada is seen, I would say, in the wider Caribbean circle and somewhat in the international circle as he's been compared to like a Barack Obama. Like the changing of the guards like represent hope because Prime Minister Mitchell is like the youngest leader in the Caribbean and one of the youngest leader across the entire world. And he represents pretty much the hope for the future of the Caribbean. And it is so good to see like a young, vibrant, inspiring politician representing the Caribbean. He was also the chair of CARICOM and is a very good speaker. Very good speaker. When you see him on the international stage, like he's very calm, he's very well spoken, and is someone that represents the Caribbean very well. And as I said, the Prime Minister was also the chair of CARICOM. And just imagine a young Prime Minister, Mr. Dickon Mitchell, sitting in a room with 14 other leaders from CARICOM, people like Ralph Gonzalez, that's been in power for like almost 25 years. We're talking about the Honorable Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and we're also talking about Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, who, when he became Prime Minister, he was one of the youngest Prime Minister at that time in the world, one of the youngest leaders in the world. So Mr. Dickon Mitchell is pretty much in that position where Andrew Holness was about 15 years ago. And what I like about, as I said, what I like about the Prime Minister of Grenada is that whenever you see him on the international stage, he represents the Caribbean well. Like he's well spoken, he speaks of unity. Like you never see him speaking on the international stage without talking about places like Haiti, without talking about Cuba. And that is very inspiring to see, as a Caribbean national that study the history of the Caribbean, and we go back to different leaders in the Caribbean. And sometimes you wonder, like, can we produce leaders that will take the Caribbean to the next level? And when you look at a leader like him, like I would have to say yes. And for me, one of the most impressive things that came out of the Caribbean in the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, came from Grenada when they signed a deal with a Nigerian company, oil refinery company. So that relationship with Nigeria is very, very inspiring to me because, as you know, like the Prime Minister of Barbados and her mission to connect the Caribbean to Africa. And we see more of an effort now of Caribbean leaders trying to connect, whether it's to get that straight flight from the continent into the Caribbean. We see a push happening in recent times. So for the Prime Minister of Grenada to have that relationship with Nigeria, it is such an amazing move towards the future of the relationship between the Caribbean and Africa. And one of the most impressive footage that I've seen recently is the Prime Minister of Grenada in Nigeria with Africa's billionaire, richest man in Africa, Dangote. And I have some footage of that to show. So let's take a look at the Prime Minister of Grenada in Nigeria.
The 650,000 barrels per day integrated refinery infrastructure is the largest anywhere in the world, and that's why the Prime Minister of Grenada, Mr. Mitchell Dickon, is the latest high-profile diplomat to absorb this masterpiece. Led by the chairman and CEO of the largest industrial conglomerate in West Africa, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, alongside key management staff, he begins the tour at the landfall, then to the jetty and the fertilizer plant, before making another stop at the central laboratory and the main control room, MCR. The team also makes a stop at the petroleum refinery and storage tanks. Done with the tour, the Prime Minister and his host speak to the media.
This is an amazing achievement, an amazing accomplishment, a tribute to what a great vision Mr. Dangote has, not just for his company, but for Nigeria and but for Africa as a whole. So it's been a wonderful experience. The sheer scale, breadth, depth, sophistication, automation, as well as to see many very bright young Nigerians, particularly at the lab.
The Prime Minister is not only Prime Minister of Grenada, he's also the chairman of the Caribbean states. We're looking at also cement. We're looking at petroleum, to buy maybe some crude from them. Also to sell some of our petroleum products. Because, we export.
Okay, so that was it. The Prime Minister of Grenada in Nigeria with one of Africa's billionaire, one of the richest man in Africa. And as I said, to me, that is one of the best deals that I've seen so far. And, one deal will lead into other deals. And before you know it, the Caribbean and Africa have a full-blown relationship in terms of trade and tourism. So the sky is the limit when it comes on to this relationship between the Caribbean and Africa. And another footage that I'd like to show is of the Prime Minister himself, the outgoing chair of CARICOM, and his final speech as the chair of CARICOM at the 48th meeting, heads of government meeting, CARICOM, that was held in Barbados last week. And as I said, when you see him on the international stage, he makes you proud to be a Caribbean national, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he articulates himself. So I'm excited about the future of the Caribbean. I don't know about you. Sound off in the comment section and just let me know if you are as excited as I am about the future of the Caribbean. Because one of the things doing these videos, a lot of people express skepticism about leaders in the Caribbean and corruption in the Caribbean. So it is good to see a young leader emerging, and I'm sure that will inspire a lot of other young people in the Caribbean to go into politics. Because for whatever reason, Caribbean people, Caribbean nationals, we see politics as something that we should not get into. It's a bad thing, it's something that we should demonize. But I think more young people, we complain about corruption, we complain about things not going the right way. And I believe young people should step up in the Caribbean and to show that, look, yeah, we might have had a history of corruption, but as young people, we can change. So let's take a look at the Prime Minister of Grenada, the outgoing chairman of CARICOM, and one of his final speech as chair of CARICOM. Let's take a look.
And make no mistake about it, we have one planet. I don't know about you, but I'm sure I'm not going to live on Mars. And so it may be the Caribbean islands today, or islands in the Pacific tomorrow, or Spain, or New Orleans, or Australia. It is one planet. And we are simply asking for partnership in tackling the challenges of climate change and in protecting and sustaining the lives, the livelihoods, and the cultures of the people who are most prone to the devastating impacts of climate change. We are in Barbados. If you don't think Barbados is worth fighting for, or the Bahamas is worth fighting for, or Dominica is worth fighting for, then I don't know what is worth fighting for. So I will not bore you with the details of the accomplishments of CARICOM under my tenure, save to address a few items. Under the distinguished leadership of President Ali of Guyana, CARICOM devoted enormous resources, time, and effort in supporting our brothers and sisters in Haiti. And that continued under my chairmanship, and it will continue under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Motley. We are aware that some in the international community may be suffering from what is called Haiti fatigue. But until and unless we accept that a large part of what has happened in Haiti is not the doing of the people of Haiti, we in the CARICOM will not accept or encourage or support Haiti fatigue. Our brothers and sisters in Haiti deserve the right to life, to liberty, to decent healthcare, housing, education, and to the preservation of their culture. Because make no mistake, Haiti symbolizes the revolution that changed this part of the world. Had it not been for Haiti, the idea that one human being could own another human being as chattel slavery and put him to work for their profit may very well still be persisting. And so we owe it to that island, all of us who are freed, the descendants of freed men and women who fought for their freedom, to ensure that we continue supporting and advocating for the partnership and the support to bring Haiti back from the brink. Your Excellency Ursula von der Leyen, I don't mean to be impolite, but I will say to you, therefore, that the issue of reparations for the transatlantic slavery and the enslavement of African peoples and black bodies, as my comrade Ralph likes to say, is an issue that we will take up with you. And we are doing so in the hands of partnership, and we are doing so in the cause of humanity. Because as long as we do not openly and explicitly reject the idea that one human being can own another human being, we run the risk that that idea may somehow take root again and be allowed to flourish and happen again in the world. And so as descendants of people who fought for their freedom from chattel slavery, we owe it to ourselves and to future generations of humanity to ensure that the transatlantic slave trade and the enslavement of Africans in the Caribbean, Latin, Central, South, and North America is accepted as a crime against humanity, and that the appropriate apology and compensation is paid, and that the international community accepts that this should never happen again. I have no doubt that my sister, Prime Minister Motley, will say it in perhaps more passionate and more explicit language. I conclude by emphasizing, as you heard from Barbados's youth ambassador, this is not a time for slow, incremental tiptoeing around the many issues that confronts us in CARICOM, in the region, and in the international community. This is not a time to allow for might is right and for the powerful and the wealthy to say that they can take what they want, when they want, where they want, or how they want. So as small as our populations may be, as small as our land masses may be, the international order that recognizes the right of each individual and the sovereignty of each country, regardless of its size, to be able to take part in a rules-based international order based on universally accepted human rights must be defended, supported, advocated for at all times. CARICOM didn't get to where it is today by retreating, by going meekly into the night, or by not standing up and advocating for what is right. We have done so in the past, whether it's to support our brothers and sisters in South Africa in the fight against apartheid, whether it's to continue in our calls for the lifting of the embargo against our brothers and sisters in Cuba, whether it's in the recognition that our brothers and sisters in Palestine deserve the right, like everyone else, to live peacefully. We should not, at this pivotal moment in humanity and in the world's history, de-emphasize the role of our unity, our advocacy, and our contribution to the continued growth and development of mankind. Thank you very much. It was my honor to serve as CARICOM chairman.
Okay, guys, that was it, the Prime Minister of Grenada. And one thing that I've learned doing this for almost a year now, bringing stories from out of the Caribbean, one thing I've learned is that my opinion is just an opinion. Like, people might not share my excitement about the future of the Caribbean, but if you're watching this and you're from Grenada and you are excited, you're hopeful, you are happy about the leadership of your native, a native from your land, Grenada, that how he represents himself on the international stage, in the wider Caribbean community also, sound off in the comment section and let me know if you are as excited as I am. And if you're not, sound off and let me know also, like, if you think that, I'm seeing something that you're not seeing, that you think that the Prime Minister is not as good as I think he is. Also, sound off in the comment section and let me know. And guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.